All right, Joel, certainly the outcome we expected at the President's Cup. Did you expect it to be the margin that it was?
Well, 19-11 is a little misleading even if you look at the final tally because really it was a blowout throughout. No, I did not. I thought the Internationals would lose, but I did not think it would be a blowout like that. I'm not sure many people did. I mean, basically from the first tee shot all the way until Sunday, it was a wide margin. I mean, the U.S. pulled ahead early, never took the foot off the gas, and won each session by at least 2 points. Even one session nearly swept the entire thing, went 4.5 to 1/2. So, no, it was a massive blowout, and really was never even close.
So, because cosmetically it wasn't as lopsided as probably it should have been, does that keep people from maybe wanting to tweak this as much as it probably needs to be tweaked?
I actually don't. I actually think there's enough fuel to that fire. I think because the narrative and the media, the stories coming out of it were, U.S. dominates, lopsided, it's the dream team, best team ever. How can the Internationals expect to compete, et cetera? I think there's enough fuel there to potentially make some changes. When it comes down to it, though, the international team did not play well.
Right.
I mean, you can spin it however you want. You can say, the format needs a tweak. There's too many points available in President's Cup versus Ryder Cup. It's not fair, whatever. The international team did not play well. Jason Day, who's arguably the best player on the international team, was basically a no-show. Mm-hmm. Adam Scott was pretty much in a slumber the entire time. Louis and Brandon Grace played okay, but certainly, didn't make any serious noise. Anibar and Lahiri played okay, made a little bit of noise, won a match, and had an impressive halve on Sunday. But, other than that, Mark Leishman, who had been red hot, didn't even win a match. Jonathan Vegas was 0-4 going into Sunday. Charles Schwartzel was terrible. Adam Hadwin was bad. They did not play good golf. So that was really the biggest reason, is just flat out they got absolutely outplayed.
Well, and it's interesting that you talk about that, Joel, because, and I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers here, but it goes back to the old East River, West River high school football situation, which is, at what point, if you're a Rapid City high school, don't you just try to get better? I mean, the scores have been lopsided, but at some point it's up to you to get better. When you've got Adam Scott and Jason Day and Hideki Matsuyama, who all win combined 3 matches, those are some of the best players in the world, and for them to just have 3 wins between the 3 of them, come on, you've got better players than that.
Yeah, exactly. And I failed to mention Hideki a second ago, and he's, you could put him right up there along the lines of Jason Day. He doesn't have that major yet, but certainly expected a lot more from him. He was pathetic. There's no question about it. He played good on Sunday, but other than that, he could not even find the center of the club face and couldn't get any putts to drop. So I think part of it boils down to also motivation and also scheduling is another thing. Most of these guys played their way all the way through the FedEx Cup playoffs, Hideki and Jason Day and Mark Leishman included. They're exhausted. And we talked last week about the scheduling of this in the future coming in December in 2 years in Australia at Royal Melbourne. Maybe that's actually a good thing where it's separated enough where, okay, these guys aren't going to be in form, but at the very least it's close enough to January where they're going to be fresh and ramping their games back up towards the new season. I don't know. Basically, if you look at it, obviously they didn't play very well. It didn't fall in a good time of the year, right at the very end of the FedEx Cup playoffs. These guys were exhausted. Americans were exhausted too, but they just played better. They have more firepower. In the future, I'm not sure it can go much worse for the Internationals, but there would also not be surprised to see a format tweak of some sort coming soon.
Let's talk about the highlights for the American team. Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, Phil Mickelson, Kevin Kisner did not lose a match. Any of those guys. They halved a few, but none of them had anything other than a 0 in the loss column.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson was nails all week. 4-0-1 was extremely impressive. Ricky was really good. Actually, I was a little surprised to see him get, I guess it was Saturday afternoon off. Phil was great. That was not, I guess in a sense, it's not that surprising. He's usually a good team player, but pairing with Kisner, who's a rookie for 3 of the 4 sessions, they both kind of lifted each other up, and they did a little Three Amigos chest bump dance, which I found funny after holing a putt. I'm not sure you'd ever see that in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of kind of made the whole thing seem a little bit corny, almost seeing stuff like that. But they're motivated, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of antics on the course, I mean, Siwoo Kim, yeah, that's great. Do the old Patrick Reed silence the crowd thing. When your team is down 11 points, I mean, come on, you got to pick your moments, and that's not the moment.
Yeah, not only they were down 11 points. I mean, the President's Cup was over at that point.
Yeah.
He was also 2 down in the match. He wasn't even winning the match.
Wow.
He was actually playing pretty well, but Daniel Berger would not miss. Daniel Berger was absolutely on fire that day, and Siwoo played well too, but he's a young guy. It's his first experience in a team competition like this. Yeah, he's going to probably learn from that one. I'm guessing you won't hear the end of that next time he tees it up, or probably the next few years when he tees it up on this side of the pond.
Let's talk about Jordan Spieth, because at first glance you go, 3-1-1. It's a decent number, but then as you look inside the numbers a little bit more, you realize there's a troubling trend now for Jordan on these big stages, especially in individual matches.
It's almost shocking. Actually, it is shocking. I won't even say almost shocking. He's 0-5 now in singles play between the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. Not really sure what to chalk that up to, honestly. He's young, so he basically always gets paired in every match. So he plays, and the Ryder Cup, of course, is only Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So he plays 2 rounds Friday, 2 Saturday, and then plays Sunday. And then the President's Cup plays Thursday, plays Friday, 2 rounds Saturday, and then Sunday. 0-5 is amazing. For somebody of Spieth's caliber, and as good of a putter as he is, and as intimidating as you would think, I don't know if it's players on the other side being, raising their games that much more because they want to beat him. But Jonathan Vegas was 0-4 for the week going into that match. Even though the cup was basically won, you would have, put all your marbles in one basket and said, Spieth's going to take care of it. And sure enough, Vegas ends up beating him. So I don't know. They kind of gave Spieth some crap about it on the interview stand on Saturday night before Sunday's final matches, and Kevin Kisner and Dustin Johnson and others were having fun with him about it, but Daniel Berger too. But I don't know. I'm not sure what to chalk it up to, other than maybe he gets a little tired, maybe other guys raise their games that much more, and I guess just hasn't played well on the Sundays. But come Ryder Cup next year in France, he's going to have to raise his game, and almost certainly going to have to win a point on Sunday for the U.S. to win.
And, of course, in these team events, match play is in play most of the time, and you forget these guys don't play match play on a regular basis. Most of them did when they were younger, but as they become professionals, match play is really something they're not accustomed to. And so you see things happen like with Jordan Spieth on Saturday, and talk us through the whole situation and how much of the blame lies with Jordan and how much of it is just, again, one of those weird golf rules popping up at the wrong moment.
Yeah, so what happened is on Saturday, Louis Oosthuizen was over the green and hit a chip shot, that was racing past the pin, and Spieth happened to be standing over near the pin, and the ball, because it was team play at that point, Louis' chip, basically because it didn't go in, it didn't matter to count a score for the hole.
Yeah.
It was best ball at that time, so you're taking the best score of the two players. It was racing by the cup, and as the ball was still rolling, Jordan put his putter out, stopped the ball, picked it up, and threw it to Louis. Louis grabbed it, kind of kept going, and went on with it. But in match play, technically, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to put influence on a moving ball because the ball could come to rest. The referee came on and said, well, the ball could have rolled back closer to the hole. Well,
of course it could have, right?
Not when you have gravity involved, because, gravity usually takes downhill into account, and the ball would have actually rolled another probably like 20 feet.
Yeah, we weren't talking about 16 at Augusta here, were we?
Yeah, where it goes up a slope and then back down. Yeah, it actually had gone over a slope and was going to keep going. So it's a stupid rule. Yeah. I mean, in match play, to me, if the opponent has electively chosen to give you a putt, and the other opponent accepts it, which Louis clearly did, end of story.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that makes – guys do this on the course all the time in non-match play situations, like, if you're just playing with your buddies and stuff. It's just another example. I feel like we talk about this nearly every week of just golf's rules needing to be changed. Because that rule for match play, it just makes absolutely no sense. What
kind of presence do you think Tiger Woods had as assistant captain?
Well, from all the media reports it seemed like he was a positive influence. He looked a little stiff. He was wearing this. It almost looked like an astronaut outfit on Sunday. He was in white pants, white coat. I don't know. He looked a little stiff. And actually, before the competition even started, he came out and said he may never play competitive golf again, which is not that surprising to me. We've talked about it a bunch on here. He's injured. He's never going to be anywhere near what he was for a lot of reasons. But that's a big admittance. I'm actually pretty surprised to hear Tiger say that and outright admit that. So as far as his presence, I mean, I suppose it was positive. There's a lot of, you look at it like this. There's a lot of young players in that team that really look up to Tiger. And Tiger, being a 14-time major champion, 79 PGA Tour victories. If he's on your sidelines, you would think it would only be a positive impact on the team.
Well, and the golf world goes on without Tiger because now all of a sudden we're rolling right into the 2017-2018 season, and it tees up and it starts Thursday in Napa, California with the Safeway Open, and we know, at least, if nothing else, we know we'll see Phil Mickelson this week.
Yeah, I'm exhausted even just thinking about it. I can't even imagine, like, the PGA Tour regulars who go, there's a lot of guys who finished, I guess not necessarily all of them because the playoffs, of course, dwindles down from 125 to 100 to 70 to 30, Tour Championship, then President's Cup. So there's a couple weeks off there for a lot of guys. But regardless, I mean, it picks right back up here right as football's starting to heat up, which is something I think the PGA Tour will change starting next year. I think these tournaments will still exist, but there'll be more of a break in there. But, yeah, Safeway Open, it's actually a great event. It's a beautiful golf course. Johnny Miller actually grew up playing there, I believe, and is usually out there, has a lot of connections with the course and talks it up a lot. Imagine that from Johnny, but it's actually a beautiful track that probably won't get a lot of attention because the NFL is on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phil is in the field. Zach Johnson's playing. Tony Finau, Webb Simpson, or a couple others. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, everybody else is taking a much-deserved break. And in a couple weeks here, we have a WGC event coming up overseas in Shanghai that is towards the end of October. I think we'll see a few more guys teeing it up there. But for the most part, guys need a break, deserve a break, and we're not going to see the majority of the world's top players for a while.